Hey, let's talk about it, cause honestly we need to talk about social issues, just uplifting my people. Yeah, let's talk about it. Come join the conversation. A connection's what we're creating. Yeah.
What's happening, everybody? How y'all doing today? So I'm gonna get straight to the point, right? Oftentimes, the road that's less traveled is the road that requires you to be different. And, being different can be a painful, place to be for a lot of people, right? And because of this, this is why you have everyone not only pursuing the same things, but by means of the same transportation. And what I want, to explain with that is we are so fast to jump on what we think got the next person, successful, right? We are so fast to utilize the blueprint for someone else's success, right? So what we have is we have this trend of monkey see, monkey do, right? In the social media space, what got this person a million likes or a million followers, what you start to see is there's so many copycats doing the same thing, right? And going against the grain sometimes looks like you're quote unquote losing because you may not be garnering the success of what you see everyone else is doing, right? And when you fall into that type of mindset, that's where the depression comes in. That's where the, feeling less than comes in because you're like, I did everything that this person did and I'm still not achieving, that quote unquote success, right? And what I want to explain or get my point across is being different sometimes is where the blessing is, right? Because when you throw away your difference from everyone else, you're stopping the blessing that God has put into you to get out to the masses, right? I'll use myself as an example. Growing up, for everybody that knows me, right, or that grew up with me or whatever, everybody knew that, my grandmother put me in some peculiar situations, right? And what I mean by that is, when the Jerry curl went out of style, I was just getting it. when having the ducktail had went out of style, I was just getting it, right? And it felt like I was always so many steps behind, when it came to my hair. And I used to see everybody else getting the fades, getting this, that, and the other, right? And I start feeling like something was wrong with me, right? Now, I had tons of friends. Everybody out there that know me, I always been cool with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I fight. You know what I'm saying? Because in certain situations, I had to because I was so invested that I did not look like everyone else. I didn't have the Jordans, back then and this, that. And I didn't have that type of stuff, right? And sometimes I would go to sleep and I would just be like, what in the world is going on? I know my grandparents got some money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that they can get me what it is that I wanted. I see everyone else getting all of this stuff. And I'm just like, what is going on, right? As I start maturing and I look back at that situation, I've always been different. You see, my grandmother put me in positions when I was younger that I used to do speeches all the time, right? In church. She would, have me, study all of this stuff. And she would tell me, I will get you, X, Y, and Z if you, get in front of the church and you do the speech and you don't have no mistakes. And I started that out when I was 6, years old, and I was doing all of that stuff, right? And a lot of times I didn't understand then, right? And I'm like, why I always got to do all of these speeches, right? Like, why I got to do all of this stuff, right? Now, fast forward, I'm in your space almost every other day giving speeches, right? I was different. And the thing is that my grandparents saw something in me, right? At a young age, they saw something in me. I didn't get a lot of whoopings, you know what I'm saying? I got some whoopings now, but I didn't get a lot of whoopings, right? I got talked to. And my grandfather would put me in a room and he would talk to me, right? Fast forward now to my mature state now, because he saw something in me. So when I would veer off track, he knew that he didn't have to whoop me. All he had to do was just sit down and talk to me. And that talking, sometimes I would prefer being whooped. You know what I'm saying? Like when he called me back in that room, I would prefer being whooped. But he saw something in me then. So back then, I was different. Now we fast forward today, I do this, you know, I write, I didn't wrote a book and, you know what I'm saying, all of this type of stuff, right? And what started to happen to me was I was looking for affirmation from other people that wasn't designed to go where I'm going. And that's not a slight at anybody, right? But sometimes you're looking for that affirmation from people that haven't been where you are. And you develop this sense of being bitter because you feel like nobody understands you. But let me tell you something, right? If God has favor on your life, you have favor on your life. That's why when you're in certain spaces, there's a section of people that just can't stand you. You ain't done nothing to them. You ain't said nothing to them. They look at you and they just can't stand you. And then further down the line, they'll tell you, you know, when I first met you, I ain't like you. But you cool now. And you sit up here like, well, why? How could you not like? I ain't even say nothing to you, right? Because the favor on your life causes you to show up differently. And this video is just to get people out there to understand that your uniqueness is what God has put in you to birth into the world. Somebody needs your uniqueness. And the problem is we are so focused on what everybody else got going on or how somebody else does it, right? Because see, the devil will always attack your focus. That's why year after year, when you make these New Year's resolutions and by October, November, you're already saying that next year is going to be your year. You know why? It's your focus. And that's what the devil will attack. He will attack what you focus on. Myself, I have had situations to where I'm focused and then I would allow something to take me off course. And what I'm understanding now is that, listen, we're only here for a short time. So what you have to do is you have to understand that, you know what? This worked for this person. That doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And sometimes you being different is the very thing that's going to take you where you need to be. And when you're different, people going to talk about you. People going to laugh behind your back. People going to, you know what I'm saying? This, that, and other, right? And even for myself, right? I remember when I first wrote my book. And the reason why I wrote the book was because my grandmother had told me a long time ago that she wanted to write a book before. That was one of her dreams, right? She loved to write this, that, and the other, right? And when I got to a position where I could do it, I did it, right? I did it. And the thing was, I didn't even tell her that I did it. But I did it for her. But I didn't even tell her that I did it, right? Because I felt like, I don't know. I'm probably the worst, you know what I'm saying, person as far as to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, like to big up myself, right? So I didn't tell her whatever. And one day she called me and she said, "Lil Rodney, you know, somebody told me you wrote a book." I told her, I said, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like I did. I wrote a book. And my thing was, I wrote it for her, but I was so focused on everybody else who did not support me. And me focusing on that, it took me off course. So I became bitter at so many people that I neglected the people that did support. Every time I come and I make these videos, right? Sometimes I sit back and, you know, I'm human. So I look at, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the people that know me in real life, right? Like I look at who didn't watch it, who this, that, and the other, right? Then I look at those people and I see everything that they did like. So then I sit back and I'm just like, okay, I see how it is. All right, I see how it is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm not rocking with you no more because you're not supporting me, right? But me doing that throws me off of course. It throws me off of the mission and the goal, right? Because I'm so focused on who's not, it throws me off of everything. So my message to anybody out there today is that what you're doing now, right? What you're doing now, if it seems like it's like so far left from what everybody else is doing, that's what you need to be doing. You see, you can take the blueprint of what someone else has done, but you ain't got to follow every step, because the reason why you can't be like that person, because you got to go through what they went through. My grandparents, you know what I'm saying, meant everything to me, still to this day. And that's why I don't do certain things. That's why I don't say certain stuff, right? Because the love that I have for them just won't even allow me to do it, right? And I try to pattern myself, you know what I'm saying, behind them, right? But what I understood was, and what my grandfather told me one day, was that, you know, I can't be them, because me being them, I would have to go through what they went through, and what they went through just might kill me. When I'm talking to my kids, right? You know, when you have kids, you want your kids to go on to be successful, right? And the problem is, what is that success? You see, you can want your child to be a doctor, but that ain't their path. You can want your child to be, you know, make it to the NBA. That's not their path. NFL, that's not their path. See, what you have to do is you have to see what it is that they want to do, and you support them. There's so many people that have went to college and got these degrees, and those degrees, they're not even working in those fields. You know why? And this is just keeping it real. You know why? Because they just wanted to have a degree, because maybe it was their parents that said, you know what I'm saying, this, that, and other, blah, 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 right? And they went and they got the easiest thing to get the degree in, just to be able to say that they have a degree. They didn't look at the forecast to say, okay, what career paths for the next 10 years is going to be, you know what I'm saying, the most profitable. They didn't do none of that. They just went out and got a degree, right? And then they want to be able, the next person to say, oh, they got a degree. Or you tell a person, yeah, I went to college 4 years, I got a degree, and you working over here at Walmart. Nothing against Walmart. But what I'm saying is, because you were so focused on making someone else happy or following the trend, that's what you did. That's what you did. That's why, you know, you have these younger women now who's looking at, you know what I'm saying, these other female rappers, and they, you know what I'm saying, you know, I can't judge nobody, right? But what they're doing, you know, we call it ratchet, right? They're making ratchet music, right? So you got a segment of girls that's living by that, right? Like, they're actually going out there living by everything that this person is rapping about, right? Only to find out that this person has been in a relationship for 5 years. They're presenting themselves as if they out there in the streets, but they've been in a relationship behind the scenes, and their manager said, you can't let nobody know that you've been in a relationship, because we want these girls to want to be like you. Guys, you got a lot of guys that are doing everything that these other people are doing. They going out there, all their music is about shooting this, that, and other, and they really going out there shooting up some stuff, right? Only to find out that this person, you know what I'm saying, was a straight A student, they ain't even got a speeding ticket. Right? But you are trying to emulate them. Now you really out here facing jail time. You really out here facing jail time. Because guess what? That road seems the quickest to get you success. That road seems the quickest to get you success. When you look at statistics about marriage and this, that, and the other, right? And they say, okay, divorce that's an all-time high and this, that, and the other, right? And you look at that and then you say, I'm never getting married because I don't want to get divorced. Think about it. I'm never getting married because statistics say, right? Statistics say that it doesn't. So you're going to focus on that. But your grandparents done been together 60-some years. You know what I'm saying? If you were blessed that your parents are together for all of these years, you know what I'm saying? You have all of these examples, but the superstars that you idolize are now going through a divorce. So now you're saying, I'm never going to get married. You have to understand that your difference is the blessing. You being different is what is the blessing. There's something in you that somebody in Tacoma, Washington needs to hear. that idea that you have in your mind, someone in Peru might need. That business that you're trying to get up off the ground, someone in Memphis, Tennessee needs. But those things are never birthed because you are following trends. You're trying to be like someone else, not understanding that that person is not happy. Just because you see something on social media, that's not real life. That's not real life. You can be a millionaire and wish you had nothing because you were happy, most happiest when you had nothing. You were the most happiest when you had nothing. And here you are saying, I wish I was a millionaire. What you focus on, you have to be focused. I don't care how much praying that you do. If you have no focus, you never get anywhere. You never get anywhere. And if you're focusing on the wrong thing, you never get anywhere. I'm going to close this out, right? But I'm going to share my testimony. I thought that this year would go several different ways, right? And there was a point in time that I was sitting back and I was just so focused on what I thought was going to happen and it didn't happen. And I started getting down on myself. And when I started getting down on myself, I neglected everything that God has done for me this year that I didn't think that he was going to do. I've been blessed. I have truly, truly been blessed. But because those blessings came and it wasn't the way that I thought it was going to come, I was actually kind of depressed. And I would get into this situation. I'm just like, man, I don't know this, that, and other. But I snapped out of it. You know why? Because I had to look at what I was focusing on. People will talk about you. People will do you all sorts of ways. And you have a choice to make. Do you block your blessings? Do you block your blessings trying to get that get back? I am in this situation right now to where I'm not chasing nobody. Not chasing nobody. I ain't trying to dispel no rumors. If that's what you want to think, that's what you want to think. I ain't trying to stop nobody from talking about me. If that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. But what I am doing is trying to be the best version of myself. And in being the best version of yourself, you will irritate other people's demons. You know why? Because they don't know who they want to be. There's no way in the world you being the best version of yourself should irritate someone else. If you're being the best you and it's irritating someone else, that is not your problem. That is not your problem. Now, if you're being someone else, okay, that's a whole different story. But if you being your authentic self is irritating someone else, that's their problem. So anyways, man, I know this was a long one, but I just really wanted to get that out there, right? Because everybody's going through something. And a lot of times what you're going through can be as simple as someone lying on you. Someone taking a story and they change everything to fit how they feel. That's why I don't deal in emotions. I don't deal in emotions like that, because how you feel is how you see the world. If you're always a victim, then guess what? How you see the world is just is totally different than how I see, because I can find a blessing in any mess. When I wake up in the morning, I'm blessed. I don't care what happens between me waking up and getting out that door, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. But if you the type of person that everything's always happened to you, when you get up in the morning, your back hurt, your knee hurt, you didn't hit your toe, you didn't this, that, and the other. Two ways of looking at life. So anyways, man, I'm sorry for being this long, man. I love y'all and thank y'all for supporting me.
Hey, let's talk about it, cause honestly we need to talk about social issues, just uplifting my people. Yeah, let's talk about it. Come join the conversation. A connection's what we're creating. Yeah.